over Southeastern Louisiana earlier today as part of this round-robin tournament here in Starkville. Meanwhile, Mississippi State is 10-3 and riding a 6-game winning streak. And really, ever since the last day of that tournament down in Mexico about a week and a half ago, seemingly State has played really well since then.
Yeah, you know, Mississippi State back in Mexico, they started off struggling offensively, lost a couple games down there, and then the Bats woke up for him. You know, Mia Davidson and Fale Lua really carrying the Bats for Mississippi State with that long ball. And, yeah, they've come through in a lot of these games, a lot of long balls, a lot of runs scored. So Mississippi State, it'll be interesting to see their offense today and how they continue to do really great in that aspect.
Yeah, hitting home runs and extra base hits, that's been the key to State's success so far during this 6-game winning streak. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech as they will send Brianna Roper, Trisha Awald, and Katie Cruz, 1, 2, 3, up to the plate in this top half of the first inning. Roper, the second baseman, throws right, bats left. Awald, the first baseman, a true lefty. And then Cruz, the third baseman, a true right-hander. Those are the 3 hitters we'll see in the top of the first. The middle of the order for Tech features the right fielder, Crosby Huckabee, a right-handed hitter. The left fielder and left-handed hitter, Skye Webb. And the DP, a right-hander in Drew Puckett. The 7 through 9 hitters feature the center fielder, a right-hander in Cameron Stanford, the right-handed hitting shortstop, Bailey Zeitler, and the right-handed hitting catcher, Kaylee Ellebrock. So Roper, Awald, Cruz, Huckabee, Webb, Puckett, Stanford, Zeitler, Ellebrock, your 1 through 9 batting order today for Georgia Tech. But like I said, comes in 7-6 on the season, but 0-2 this weekend against Mississippi State, and they will face the freshman lefty Grace Fagan, who gets her second start against the Jackets this weekend here for Mississippi State. 1.33 ERA and a record of 2-1 in the circle for the Bulldogs. And we're all set to go as Roper steps in, and Fagan, the lefty, gets ready and fires strike 1 over the plate to begin game number 1 of what will be 2 games for us and 2 games for the Bulldogs, as State will take on Alcorn State in the nightcap to cap off the tournament later on this evening. Just off the plate, count evens up. 6th appearance, actually 7th appearance total in the circle, 4th start for Fagan. The true freshman really has performed well so far in this, her first year playing college D1 softball.
Absolutely. Van Studeman really looking to see a great player in Grace Fagan, someone who is going to carry this team this year and in the next 3 years to come after her freshman year this year.
Has thrown 21 innings already on the year. That's off the plate. The count is going to be a 3-1 hitter's count to the very dangerous Brianna Roper, who comes in hitting .478 as she makes her 14th consecutive start to begin the season for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Roper leading the team with 17 RBIs right now, a really, really strong player offensively for Georgia Tech. Someone who's going to put the ball in play, make some noise in the batter's box. A strong leadoff hitter for the Yellow Jackets.
Already has 22 hits overall on the season and gets on base 50% of the time. Hard hit ball, fairly deep to center. That is off the wall, playing it off the wall and getting it back into second base, but not in time to record an out as Roper slides in safely, was the Bulldog center fielder, Kat Moore.
Great hit right there by Roper. Right up the middle, off the wall. Kat Moore, I mean, I think she played that best she could, playing it off the wall, coming up, firing it to second. But, yep, that's why Roper's in that leadoff spot to get on base and hit some solid hits like that.
Her team leading 5th double of the year. And Tech in business in the top of the first as Awald steps up. Another sophomore left-handed hitter for Tech. And another power bat in this top half of the order. Swing and a miss, chase the high rise ball, and the count evens up.
Awald, one of the players who had an RBI in Friday's game. Of the 2 RBIs, she had a nice hit off the wall to put Tech on the board on Saturday's game, excuse me.
The days run together in part because this tournament was supposed to begin on Friday. There was the threat of severe weather in the Starkville area, so the tournament was pushed back to Saturday. Pop-up foul and out of play left side for strike 2 as the count evens up at 2-2. So the games being played today were supposed to be Sunday's games.
Correct.
So it's you and I might reference the games on the wrong days
Yes.
the entire broadcast today because of that.
We might do that.
Swing and a miss, and Fagan comes back and gets a huge strikeout against the hard-hitting lefty Awald for out number 1.
Great job by the freshman coming right back after giving up that hard hit to center with a strikeout. That's a great response right there for Fagan.
Strikeout number 24 on Fagan, who was averaging over a strikeout per inning pitched so far this year. Downstairs, ball 1. Katie Cruz, the first right-handed hitter for Tech, steps in. Still less than 2 outs and a runner in Roper on at second base. So still a great scoring opportunity here early for the Yellow Jackets. Check swing, foul tip, goes back and off the backstop. For strike 1, the count evens up to Cruz.
Cruz is leading the team in home runs right now with 5, so a nice power hitter up right here for Georgia Tech.
A native of Orland Park, Illinois. High and outside for ball 2. Cruz also hitting for average on the year, not just power, hitting over 350 after the first 13 games. Hard shot right to third, and grabbing it out of the air for out number 2 is Montana Davidson. They don't call it the hot corner for nothing.
That's right. Definitely some of those hard hit line drives go over that way for any third baseman at any time. You always got to be ready on your toes at third base.
Roper did a good job getting back to second quickly. And now Huckabee steps in. First pitch, contact, high, pop up, straightaway center field. Cat Moore makes the catch. And Fagan gives up a leadoff double and then gets out of the jam by retiring Awald, Cruz, and Huckabee in order. No runs, 1 hit. There were no errors, 1 left on. No score yet in Starkville after a half inning of play between the Bulldogs and the Yellow Jackets. We head to the home half of the first inning in Starkville, News Park, the site of the inaugural Snowman Tournament, as the home standing Bulldogs of Mississippi State will be up at the plate for the first time this afternoon to face once again the right-hander from Georgia Tech, Morgan Bruce. Bevier Robinson will lead things off offensively today for the Bulldogs. She took first pitch for ball one. Robinson hitting .314 on the year. A slap hitter, so Tech brings in the infield defense as Robinson tried to lay down a bunt and popped it up and back off the backstop for a strike, and the count evens up.
Morgan Bruce is going to keep it very low in the zone. She has I think it's a drop curve that she's going to throw to the righties more in the lineup, and then also keep it low with her drop ball as well.
Robinson trying to go the opposite way, hit it foul third base side and falls behind in the count 1-2. The Bulldogs struggled for 5 innings against Bruce back on Saturday, as Robinson again fights it off to stay alive before coming through with 4 runs in what proved to be their final at bat of the game. 4 runs in the home half of the 6th in that 4-2 victory over Tech to open up this tournament a couple of days ago. Chopper to short. Throw to first is there in time. Nicely played by the starting shortstop for Georgia Tech. That's Zeitler, who gets the start today as shortstop for the Yellow Jackets.
Bevier Robinson right there. Looks like she was trying to almost tap it and then just use her speed to get on in that leadoff spot.
Unable to do so, she was retired 6-3, so no one on and 1 gone for Mia Davidson, who will watch ball 1 fly past her and off the plate to the outside. Davidson hitting .517 through 13 games with an on-base percentage of .600.
Not too bad of a stat right there.
Not too bad. You can't help but laugh every now and then at those numbers. They're almost comical as she has gotten off to a fantastic start to her sophomore season.
Yeah, and then you check out her slugging percentage.
Yeah.
And at 1.345. So a nice stat line for Mia Davidson so far this season.
She chased that last pitch off the plate. Bruce has so far given her nothing in the strike zone. The count 2 balls and a strike to the Bulldog slugger. And again off the plate as Bruce perhaps is pitching around Davidson a bit right here and maybe doing so wisely. Swing and a miss. Boy, Bruce came back with a drop ball, challenged Davidson, and Mia simply could not catch up to it. Count goes full.
Yeah, that drop ball, it's a really good pitch that she has. Again, with the curve, going to keep it outside against these power-hitting righties.
Davidson got a piece of that one, fouled it off, and will stay alive. A nice early game battle going on right here.
Absolutely.
State's best hitter, Tech's best pitcher.
You can see the infield pretty far back against Mia Davidson.
High fly ball, not very deep though. Right center field, calling off Stanford is the right fielder Huckabee, and Davidson is retired for out number 2. So Morgan Bruce won that battle after falling behind 3-1 against Davidson.
That she did, but good job by Davidson. Going towards the right side, kind of your best shot with a low drop ball pitcher.
No one on and 2 gone for Fa'alelua, who also, like Davidson, has 8 homers already on the year. She watches strike 1 get called from Morgan Bruce. 2-1 record on the year, 3.29 ERA for Bruce, the junior righty, as she makes her 7th start and already 11th appearance on the year for Georgia Tech. Off-speed pitch drops in for strike 2.
Bruce getting ahead on the power-hitting Leilua.
Leilua followed behind in the Bulldog order by Kat Moore, Sarai New, and Carter Spexarth. Swing and a miss, and Bruce gets Leilua to strike out on 3 pitches as she sits down the Bulldogs in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on. 1 complete in Starkville. No score yet between the Yellow Jackets and the Bulldogs. Nothing our score after 1 inning of play here in Starkville, as Georgia Tech tries to get their first victory against the Bulldogs on the weekend. State has already taken 2 games from the Yellow Jackets. As leading things off for Tech is Skye Webb, and she will sky one and drop it in between the Bermuda Triangle. There in shallow left center field. No one could catch up to that one. It fell right in between Dabbs, Robinson, and Moore. A bloop single to lead things off for Skye Webb.
Yeah, you know, that's got to be caught. There's got to be some communication. It is a tough ball, but I do believe that that's a ball that should be caught by someone.
You had the shortstop Robinson, the left fielder Dabbs, and Moore, the center fielder, converge. And it landed right in between all 3. Robinson and Moore each made somewhat diving attempts for it. And a pretty good runner in Skye Webb will now run at first base. Second straight inning to begin the ball game, where Tech has gotten the leadoff runner on base safely, as Roper had a double to lead off the first. Drew Puckett is the batter. Puckett, a right-handed hitting junior, hitting .270 on the year, has started every game but 1 so far this year for Tech. Swing and a miss. Fagan Looked as if she may have changed speeds a bit there and fooled Puckett, and the count goes to 2-2.
Yeah, Fagan will throw that off-speed pitch in there every once in a while to keep the hitters on their toes, mix up some speeds.
Popped up and staying alive is Puckett, as she now has to protect that plate with a 2-2 count. Fagan went up and away, and the right-handed hitting DP just got the bat around fast enough to draw some contact. 10 hits, 37 at-bats on the year for Puckett. Downstairs, count goes full. 3 extra base hits, including 1 triple and 2 doubles to go along with 7 singles. 7 runs driven in, 4 runs scored. Grounder, that's going to be a fair ball down the corner in left field. Dabbs gets over there. She throws to third in a hurry, but not in time as Webb slides in safely. And Puckett ends up over at second base. Back-to-back base hits. And the Yellow Jackets have 2 on in scoring position and no one out in the top of the second.
Some aggressive base running right there by Webb, going from first to third on a ball that barely gets into left field. So good aggressive base running on that.
That ball got out to Dabbs in a hurry.
It did.
And Dabbs, I thought, ranged over in good time. And Webb still able to go from first to third. And we'll see if they're going to rule that a single or a double for Puckett. I would imagine a single, but we'll see. Either way, she's on at second base, and 2 on and no one out for Stanford. Swing and a miss, first pitch up and in to Cameron Stanford.
The freshman Fagan having to face a little bit of adversity right here. The second inning, you know, she responded very well the first inning, giving up the leadoff double, but
swing and a miss, and just like that, Fagan out in front, 0-2 on the Tech center fielder Cameron Stanford. Just a 125 hitter on the year, with the best, or one of the better defenders, that is, in the outfield for Tech. Pop up, right side, foul territory, and no one can get there. Specksarth gave chase, as did Emily Heimberger.
yeah, right here, there's a lot of ways to score this runner at third. I mean, that ball right there, a sac fly, fair or foul to the right side, or pretty much anywhere in the outfield, if it's deep enough, will score the runner.
Because of that, State's infield drawn in. There's a ball laced towards the gap in left center field. Catmore will get to it. That'll score a couple of runs, a 2 RBI single to left center field for Stanford. And Tech is in business and on the board, up 2-0 in the top of the second.
Stanford, the sophomore, taking advantage of an opportunity early in this game to put Georgia Tech on the board. Let's see if, you know, hitting is contagious, so we'll see if Fagan's able to respond or Georgia Tech's going to keep the rally going with no outs.
Certainly one of, if not the biggest hit of the young season for the sophomore Stanford. Just her 5th hit of the year. And it drives in her 5th and 6th runs of the season. Her 3rd double. So not a ton of hits, but when she does get, not her 3rd double, but her 5th hit overall. Not a ton of hits, but when she does get hits, she drives in runs. She's been a clutch hitter at times for Tech so far this year.
Absolutely. Just simply hitting that ball into the gap, scoring those runs.
Zeitler will take the first pitch for ball 1. The Bulldogs almost expecting a bunt right here from the freshman Zeitler. Still no one out. Tech will have the top of the order coming up. Bunt is going to be a foul ball.
Right on the chalk right there.
That was close. Sarai knew, did the right thing, gloved it, and tagged the runner as she came by, but it was fouled just by an inch, if that much.
Not a bad idea by Coach Morales, playing some small ball with still no outs, runner on first.
Bunt is a fair ball this time. Throw to first, only play to be made, and it is made as New throws to Heimberger, who covers the bag. And Zeitler is retired. She does her job, though, and Stanford goes over to second base.
Yep, a sacrifice bunt right there. Textbook bunt, sacrificing herself to move her runner to second base.
That's the first out of the inning, recorded by Mississippi State. And it brings up the 9-hole hitting catcher, the senior Ella Brock, who only has 10 at-bats on the year, as she makes today only her 4th start of the season, as Tech is now playing its 14th game of the year. Pitch is high, and the count evens, or actually goes to 2 balls and no strikes. Webb led off the inning, a single to left. Puckett doubled down the line in left. Then Stanford singled to left center to drive in both Puckett and Webb. And then Zeitler laid down a bunt to advance Stanford to second base. A lot of action here in the top of the second for Georgia Tech as they lead 2-0. Delayed strike call. Ella Brock thought it was ball 4. It gets called as strike 1 by the home plate umpire. And that'll be strike 2, almost the same pitch right there.
You can tell she likes it to call it down in the zone, her strike zone. Not a bad thing if you are a pitcher.
No.
To have that low ball be called.
Grounder, that may sneak through. Backhanded by Robinson, throw it across, not in time. Robinson, though, because she got to it, it held up the runner Stanford at second, but an infield single for the catcher Ella Brock. And Tech right now, the bottom half of the order, doing a fantastic job in getting on base, setting things up now for the top of the order.
Absolutely. Just having some quality at bats, some base hits, getting on base. Now only 1 out for the Yellow Jackets.
That is the 4th hit of the inning. And some players who have not recorded many hits on the year have gotten in on the action already, with Stanford getting her 5th hit of the year. And for Ella Brock, that was only her 2nd base hit of the season. And the Bulldogs will not waste any more time. They will go ahead here in the top of the second and make a pitching change and bring in number 15, Emily Williams.
Yeah, not a bad idea here. Kind of going to give a change of pace to the Yellow Jackets, maybe break up this hitting rally they have going on. Williams, who threw the complete 5-inning game yesterday to Georgia Tech, is now going to go out there and try and break up this rally.
Now, of course, Fagan can always come back later on, but if this is all we see from Fagan in this matchup, Tech certainly had more success against her today than they did when they saw her in relief just a couple of days ago. In fact, Fagan got the save in State's victory over Tech on Saturday. But like you said, Morgan, the Bulldogs will now go to a young lady who really handcuffed Tech hitters all ball game long yesterday. In 5 innings of work, Emily Williams only allowed 2 base hits and no runs to this Tech lineup.
Yeah, throwing a shutout yesterday. Did a great job against these Georgia Tech batters, so not a bad idea putting her out there again today to continue what she was doing yesterday.
And it makes Tech adjust early and on the fly here in the top of the second.
Yeah, very early pitching change for Mississippi State.
Roper already has a double in today's ball game. Swing and a miss, and Williams will come on in relief and immediately strike out the best hitter in Tech's lineup.
Yeah, great job by Emily Williams coming in, saying, all right, I'll take this into my own hands and getting a strikeout.
So Stanford and Ella Brock remain on at first and second base. And now there are 2 gone as Awald steps in. Drop ball catches the outside corner, and the count is even, a ball and a strike on Awald, who is now hitting .325 on the year after she struck out her first time up last inning. High fly ball in left. Dabbs calls for it and makes the catch. So Williams comes in and calms things down nicely, but Tech, Morgan, a really good top of the second inning as they score 2 runs on 4 hits.
Absolutely taking advantage of some opportunities, some base runners early in the game and getting on the board.
After an inning and a half, Yellow Jackets 2, Bulldogs 0 here at News Park in Starkville. The Yellow Jackets from Georgia Tech have an early 2-run lead over the Bulldogs of Mississippi State as Kat Moore will step in to lead things off for the MSU Bulldogs in the home half of inning number 2, facing Morgan Bruce.
Yeah, Kat Moore, someone you don't usually see in the 4-hole for the Mississippi State lineup, but making her debut there this game after her grand slam yesterday against Georgia Tech in their 9-0 win. Someone who's really hot right now with power, a lot of power in her hits, some base hits. So I'm not surprised at all to see her in the 4-hole following Mia Davidson and Fale Lua.
You hit a grand slam, you get yourself worked into those power hitting slots in the batting order.
Absolutely, and you want someone who's gonna who's gonna produce in that spot after Mia Davidson and after Fale Lua, because well, based on their previous games, you know, they're hitting a lot of home runs right now. So you want someone who's going to be able to continue that rally after a base clearing hit or a big home run or a moment like that. And Kat Moore is someone who's going to stay very calm and poised in that spot and just do her game and not get too big in that moment.
That grand slam yesterday, the first of her career, and her second home run of the season. A 2-2 count. Just got a piece of that one, but fouled it back into the mitt of the catcher, Ella Brock, for a strikeout. And Morgan Bruce from the circle off to a good start here in the bottom of the second.
Yeah, Bruce really, like I've said, keeping it low and staying outside on the lefty hitters and the righty hitters. So not really giving them anything inside to pull her. She's just keeping it low and away and being very effective with those pitches.
She now faces Sarai New, who takes the first pitch, ball one.
And then she'll come in with a little bit of an off-speed pitch like that one. So very, very effective.
Certainly mixing and matching very well early on. Finds the outside corner. Count evens up. 1 ball, 1 strike. 35 innings thrown on the year by Morgan Bruce. She's allowed 30 hits, 22 runs, 16 earned runs. She has walked 21 hitters. That's been a bit of an issue for her at times this season, but has also struck out now well over 30 hitters. A 1-2 count now on Sarai New. And Sarai takes that pitch low and outside. Not going to fool Sarai New very often. If a ball's off the plate, Sarai New is not going to swing at it very often.
Yeah, that's true. And right there, Bruce she's getting that call on the outside corner, so she was just pushing it another notch, seeing if she could go a ball off and make New chase.
She tries to go the opposite way. Instead, will ground one towards Roper, who throws to first in time, 4-3, and Sarai New is retired on the putouts for out number 2. So no one on base and 2 gone now for Carter Spexarth. Sophomore outfielder. Making her 6th start of the season. Strike 1 delivered by Bruce.
Spexarth had some opportunities yesterday where she was put in the game and had some nice quality at bats, so getting a start today for the Bulldogs.
Hitting just below 200 on the year in limited at bats. Works the count even, 1-1. 3 hits and 18 at bats. All 3 hits have been singles. Has drawn a couple of walks. Has struck out just once. Pop up, shallow, could be trouble, but ranging out there and making the grab nicely is Roper. An over-the-shoulder catch on the edge of the grass in right field. A 1-2-3 inning yet again for Morgan Bruce and the Yellow Jackets. 2-0 our score through 2 here in Starkville. Katie Cruz leads off the top of the third for Georgia Tech. The Jackets are nursing a 2-zip lead right now over Mississippi State, thanks to a 2-run, 4-hit top of the second in their last at-bat. Cruz fouls back the first pitch, strike one. Alongside Morgan Bell, I'm Anthony Craven. A beautiful day for softball here in Starkville. We have not been able to say that very often here in 2019.
Yeah, it's been a rainy few days, some severe weather there in Starkville, but thankfully now it's gone, and the only thing left is a little bit of cold weather, but the sun is shining, so it's a great day.
Slow roller, foul, hit the batter's box first. So staying alive for the time being at least is Katie Cruz, who lined out to the Bulldog third baseman, Montana Davidson, her first time up, back in the first. It'll be Cruz, followed by Huckabee and Webb. This half inning for Tech. Pitch down and in, rolls away from Mia Davidson. 2-2 the count. Second pitcher of the ball game in the circle right now for the Bulldogs as Emily Williams is out there. Did a nice job to calm things down when she came on in relief last half inning. Leadoff single off the bat of Cruz right up the middle. Came right back towards the circle. Third consecutive inning for Tech, where they have led off the inning with a base hit.
Yeah, Cruz, a solid hitter in this Yellow Jacket lineup. Keeps it simple, hits a hard ground ball up the middle.
Slow roller, took a weird hop. Heimberger got a glove on it after it spun and hopped away from everybody and got the out at first base as Huckabee is retired quickly. Cruz, though, will advance to second base as Webb now steps up to the plate.
Yeah, Huckabee looks like she hit that right off the end of the bat. And, yeah, like you said, that was a weird spin.
Williams was about to put a glove on it, and then it rolled away from her, and then rolled away from Heimberger before Heimberger was able to backhand it. Webb fouls back the first pitch for strike one. So whether it be Fagan or Williams in the circle, Tech is swinging aggressively and making contact early in the at-bat.
Absolutely. Being aggressive in there, taking their hacks, looking good. You know, they had kind of the same approach I'm sure they did yesterday, but on Friday it was Saturday, it was more successful for them. So just continuing that good plan they had.
Grounder towards first. Soraya New scoops and will touch the bag for out number 2. 3 unassisted, and Webb is retired for the first time today. Cruz will go to third base. So runner on at third, but now there are 2 gone as Puckett will step in. Puckett had a big base hit last inning for Tech. Strike one delivered by Emily Williams. You talk about the aggressive batting approach, hitting approach for Tech. That might be one of the reasons why Van Studeman's so quick to make the move to a swing and miss pitcher like Emily Williams.
Absolutely. Has a lot of diversity in her pitching staff. Fagan, who has a little bit more spin, a little bit more speed on it than Williams does. So a nice dramatic change to keep the Yellow Jacket batters off balance.
Williams on the year, 3-1, 2.15 ERA. She has 38 strikeouts to lead the team, and teams are only hitting 174 against her.
Yeah, Williams is definitely a strikeout pitcher. She's going to rely on those swing and misses like you were saying.
Tech trying to add to their 2-run lead. Williams trying to retire. The Yellow Jackets right here with the 6-hole hitter Puckett at the plate. A big-time double down the line and left for Puckett. Her last time up, she then scored. Later on in that 2-run second inning, the Jackets had just a few minutes ago. Williams gets Puckett looking on a borderline pitch. Puckett thought it was a ball, gets called for strike 3, and Williams gets out of the inning. No damage done, no runs. There was 1 hit. There were no errors, 1 left on. Tech on top, 2-zip now as we head to the home half of the 3rd. Montana Davidson will lead off the bottom of the 3rd for Mississippi State as the Bulldogs look for their first hit and first base runner against Tech starter Morgan Bruce.
Yeah, Mississippi State still hasn't made it all the way through the lineup, so still the first at bat for the bottom portion of the lineup. So, I mean, still not too late to get things started. You know, it's only the 3rd inning, so why not have the bottom of the lineup get something going?
Hard hit ball, but right at Roper. And the Tech second baseman makes the play 4-3 on the putouts of Montana Davidson. So quickly, 1 gone, no one on. As the 8-hole hitter Grace Dabbs will step in. Only the 2nd start of the season for Grace Dabbs as she gets the nod today by Coach Van Studeman.
Yeah, Grace Dabbs has had some nice quality at bats, getting a few hits, but walking a few times, you know, just up there with quality at bats in her sophomore season, so earning the start today.
A small sample size, but to your point, a .625 on-base percentage in limited activity. 3 hits and 2 walks. So 5 really good at-bats. Trying to slap one right down the first base line. Shows her speed, and first base umpire says she was out. Home plate umpire says doesn't matter, it was a foul ball. Everyone did the right thing there and played it out as if it was fair, but it was called foul immediately at home plate.
Interesting.
You might see the Tech coaching staff disagree. Also a bang-bang play at first base.
Very close play.
It's all for naught, though, as it was ruled that ball was hit first in foul territory before it rolled into fair territory.
I'm assuming something like that
I couldn't.
happened.
From our vantage point, hard to tell.
Yeah.
Pitch comes inside and misses. The count is now 2 balls and a strike on Dabbs. 9th game to play in. Most of those have been pinch runner appearances.
Absolutely.
Or defensive replacement in the outfield appearances. Dabbs trying to get the state offense going here in the 3rd inning. Fouls one back, and the count will even up at 2-2. What's impressed you so far, Morgan, with Morgan Bruce?
You know, just her ability to keep it low in the zone. She really depends on that drop ball. She keeps it away from the hitters. I mean, we've seen an inside pitch here on Dabbs, but we don't see many of those. She keeps it low and is very effective. And something that we have failed to mention so far is the pitching coach for Georgia Tech is former Mississippi State Bulldog Allison Owen, who was coached by Van Studeman. So not too surprised that we see some good pitch calling, as you know, Van Studeman does call the pitches for Mississippi State. So I'm sure Allison Owen has learned a lot from Van and is continuing to use that for her team.
Dabbs hits one over the head on the left fielder. Going to be a play at third, sliding in, but not in time is Dabbs. Dabbs being aggressive. Webb, the left fielder, got it in just in time. Cruz applied the tag. A hard hit ball, but Dabbs trying to turn a double into a triple, gets gunned down.
Yeah, right there. Great ball. Great way to start the inning, what would have been for the Dogs, but just ran herself out of that. Good at bat, though, but great defensive play by Georgia Tech.
And that's a young player, too. That's Dabbs. Perhaps a little inexperienced there, not knowing to stay put at second base. You got to know your scouting report, too, and Webb has a really good arm in left field and showcased it on that play. So no one on and 1 out now for Emily Heimberger.
Yeah, the Bulldogs really looking for something to get started right here offensively in this 3rd inning. But Morgan Bruce doing a good job keeping these Bulldog hitters off the bases.
The slap-hitting veteran Heimberger trying to get on base. That will be scored as a double for Dabbs, although she was out at third base. So for Grace Dabbs, that'll be the first double of the season.
Yeah, like I said, she's putting the ball in play, having some good at-bats, but right there just ran herself out of that.
Downstairs to Heimberger, count evens up 2-2. The scoreboard here reads 1 out, but there are 2 gone in the inning because Davidson grounded out before Dabbs was thrown out, trying to stretch a double into a triple. Defense in at the corners against Heimberger, who slaps one over to the first baseman. And a nice job defensively by Awald, who will make the play. 3 unassisted. No runs, 1 hit. There were no errors. No one left on. Tech on top 2-zip through 3 here in Starkville. Our score remains 2-0 as we go to the 4th inning here in Starkville. Cameron Stanford will lead things off offensively for Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets nursing that 2-run cushion. The bottom 3 in the order due up: Stanford, followed by Zeitler and Ellebrock. They'll face Emily Williams, who Morgan has done a very good job after coming on in relief 2 innings ago.
Absolutely. Stanford, actually the batter who has the 2 RBIs on the day with a nice ball in the gap, hit to left field, but that was off of Grace Fagan. So ever since then, Williams has done a good job of making these Georgia Tech hitters work. She's making them swing a lot, swing and miss, keeping the ball up in the zone, off speed every once in a while.
We mentioned earlier in the broadcast, it was, in parts, the unusual suspects for Tech doing the offensive damage, including Stanford, who, like you said, her base hit to drive 2 runs, only her 5th hit of the season, and then she follows that up with a solo home run to left center field just over the wall and past the outstretched glove of Kat Moore. And Stanford follows up her 5th hit of the season with her 2nd homer of the season, and she is now has driven in all 3 Tech runs today.
Yeah, Cameron Stanford having a great day at the plate so far. Only the 4th inning, and like you said, driving in all 3 of the runs, so she's having a great day today.
Came in hitting only 125 and has gone 2 for 2. A single, a home run, 3 runs driven in, and a run scored.
Great day for her so far. Working hard for her team in the box.
And that becomes the first run scored all weekend long for Tech against Emily Williams. Just a really good offensive day so far for Tech to go along with the really good pitching of Morgan Bruce. Zeitler hits one towards the gap, ranging over and making the catch is Spexarth.
Great job by Spexarth. Running over there, catching that ball that looked like it might have fallen for a second, but or was going to fall, but great job by her getting over there, catching that. And then Williams coming right back after the home run with a fly out.
Zeitler put a good swing on it and made good contact, and Spexarth with a nice defensive play. Ellebrock also had a base hit for Tech back in that 2-run 2nd inning. Only her 2nd base hit of the season. Bounces one right past Davidson. That'll roll into left field. The bottom of the order having a fantastic day right now for Georgia Tech. That's 2 hits for the senior catcher, Kaylee Ellebrock.
Yeah, great hit right there. Hard down the line. We talked about earlier, third base, always have to be ready for that hot line drive or ground ball to come at you. I think Montana Davidson maybe put a little bit of glove on that, but just not in time.
Top of the order now up for Tech.
Great block right there by Mia Davidson, now with the runner on base.
And a pretty good runner, too.
Yep.
Although Tech, not much of a running team. They don't steal very many bases. But you got to think if a ball gets past the catcher, a player like Ellebrock would take off it and not hesitate to do so. We got a pretty good crowd for a Monday afternoon.
Absolutely. I bet the sunshine probably inspired a few people to get out of the house.
Bunt laid down. What a nice bunt. Safe at first is Roper. Tech is doing everything right now. That bunt was laid down perfectly. It just died right off the bat.
It was spinning a lot when it landed. probably not spinning enough to go foul, so good job by New to come up throwing, but great job by the Georgia Tech offense, playing textbook softball right now.
Third hit of the inning, and now 2 are on, less than 2 outs for Ewald, who is 0 for 2 so far today. Struck out against Fagan back in the first, and then flew out to left field against Williams last inning. Hard hit ball into left over the head of Dabbs. This will score 1. Sliding in safely at third is Ellebrock, or is Roper rather. Ellebrock scores from second, and Tech threatening to break it open here in the 4th inning, as they now are on top by a score of 4-0 after an RBI base hit from Ewald.
Great hit right there by Ewald, coming through for her team with that double. Georgia Tech pretty hot right now. Mississippi State really needs to look to break up this hitting rally they have going on. Just get an out.
Tech now with 10 base hits in the ball game. In their loss on Saturday to State, they only had 2. Line drive grabbed by Robinson for a huge out to keep the runners at bay and retire Cruz.
Yeah, great job by Robinson right there. Catching that before it hit the ground.
The point I was trying to make before that line drive out. 9 hits total for Tech in the first 2 ball games against State. Already 10 in the ball game today through 3 2/3 innings.
You know, that's a pretty common thing to see when you play a 3-game series against a team. So like we were saying earlier, this being the 3rd game, the 3rd day in a row that these 2 teams have played, you're probably going to see a few more hits. So props to the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets for coming out today, hitting. I'd like to see Mississippi State, kind of use that same tactic as well, get some more hits on the board.
And that's been a bit of a trend. You and I were talking earlier today, looking at State's offense, the amount of overall production is good. Most of it, though, coming in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th innings, not in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd innings.
That is true. Mississippi State is really going to fight in the late innings, 5, 6, 7 innings, to not go away, to stay strong. I would assume the Mississippi State coaches would hope to start those, exciting late innings earlier in the game.
Right.
So this game's still only in the 4th inning. A lot of game left for both teams, so we'll see how it plays out.
Well, and a huge moment right here, because
Absolutely.
there's a big, big difference in being down 4 runs versus being down 5 or 6 runs.
Absolutely. Williams, the veteran right now in the circle, I'm sure she's faced many moments of adversity like this, so a seasoned veteran in this moment.
Huckabee at the plate right now, 0 for 2 today. A fly out and a ground out. Grounder foul will do it again. And the count remains full.
Mississippi State really needs to work hard right now to get this out and shut down this other offensive rally that Georgia Tech has had.
Stanford a homer, Ellebrock a single, Roper a single, Ewald a double. Grounder foul, but not by much. Right down that line and left.
We've seen a lot of hits today from Georgia Tech to the left side of the field. Emily Williams is going to throw a hard fastball inside to a lot of hitters. That's one of her strengths, is just throwing that pitch hard inside. So not surprised that we see a lot of hits down the 3rd baseline or to the left side of the field.
Williams has given up now 2 earned runs on 5 hits. Hard hit ball Deep to center field, jumping up and making the grab is Cat Moore. Cat Moore saved 2 runs easily right there.
Wow.
For Mississippi State. What a catch in
What
center
an
field.
amazing catch right there. A senior coming up in a big moment, making the play that needed to be made to break up that rally from Georgia Tech offense. So great catch right there by Moore.
In the inning for the Yellow Jackets, 2 runs on 4 hits. There were no errors, and 2 runners were left on base. Score is 4-0, Tech on top as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Bevier Robinson leads off the bottom of the 4th here in Starkville. 4-0 our score. Georgia Tech has jumped on top of Mississippi State. They've done it with clutch hitting from the bottom half of the order and some fantastic pitching from the starter Morgan Bruce, who is back in there in the circle right now facing the MSU lineup for the 2nd time today.
Yeah, just now, Mississippi State just now coming back to the top of the lineup here in the 4th. So seeing Bruce for the 2nd time through hopefully will spark their offense and their hits, and we'll see some more action here in these late innings from Mississippi State offensively.
Robinson hitting just over 300 on the year, 306. Her first time up against Bruce earlier today. She grounded out to shortstop Zeitler. The lights are on here at the ballpark as the sun's about to start setting. You can see a few shadows creeping in over the 3rd base line and out into the left field corner, and some over into right field too, right where the right fielder Huckabee is standing.
Yeah, the sun setting here at News Park usually is going to set right in front of the right side of the field, making it pretty tough on all players on the right side, infield and outfield, to see the ball if it gets in the air and comes to them. I can say that from experience. a lot of days out there in practice, you know, the sun setting, and you've really got to fight that sun. It's definitely an art defending the sun out there.
It's one of the nuances of this ballpark. Robinson earns a leadoff walk, and State is on with its leadoff hitter for the first time today. And it brings up Mia Davidson. Swing and a miss. Boy, she came out looking for a strike on the outside corner. Just missed that one.
Davidson, only her 2nd at bat. I'm sure she's excited to come back up and have a nice quality at bat for the Bulldogs.
She flew out to right field her first time up in the 1st. Pitch is low and outside. We saw Bruce go low and away on most of her pitches against Davidson earlier in the ball game. We'll see what adjustments, if any, either of them make here the 2nd time around. Robinson, a plus runner at first base. No one out, swing and a miss. Actually, a swing and a foul tip. Davidson falls behind, a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Davidson, not only a great hitter physically, but mentally, she is really smart in the box. She knows the game. She knows what pitches she wants to swing at. She has a plan going in there.
8 homers on the year, 19 runs driven in. Watches that one go off the plate. And everything right now has been off the plate away from Davidson.
I would imagine that's a lot of what Mia Davidson is going to see probably for the rest of her career at Mississippi State. Nothing she can quickly get her hands to. She has some really fast hands in the box. Not saying she can't reach over and hit a nice stroke to right field on an outside pitch, but definitely has very quick hands and can hit a lot of different pitches.
Comes down and in on Davidson, and that misses, and the count is full at 3-2. I'm sure Bruce is thankful she's facing Davidson now with a 4-run cushion, allowing her to pitch around if she wants to. Off the plate, ball 4, back-to-back walks. The one thing that Bruce did not want to do was walk Robinson.
Absolutely.
Obviously, that's what made that situation a bit more difficult, because she almost had to walk Davidson.
Definitely. The spark that Mississippi State was looking for, their leadoff batter of the lineup and of the inning, getting on base, and Mia Davidson following that with a great quality at bat, getting on base. So setting up nicely for the Bulldogs.
And that's what makes this 1-2 combo of Davidson and Leilua so difficult, because if there's somebody already on base, you can't give either of them a strike right down the middle. They're going to drive it into the alleys or out of the ballpark. And if you pitch around them totally, they have enough discipline to sit there and draw the walk. And now you got a situation where there are 2 on, including a really good runner in scoring position at second base in Robinson as Leilua steps up. And all she's done this year is drive in over 20 runs on the season through 13 ball games.
Yeah, that probably worked out pretty close to how Mississippi State would want it to in this inning.
Time was called, you saw there on your screens, on your monitors. Allison Owen walked out there and talked things over with Morgan Bruce, who then comes back and fires a strike on the outside corner to Leilua to begin the at-bat. Chopper, shortstop, throws to second. That's the only play. So an out is recorded. Big out there to get for Tech. 4-run lead. They don't care where the outs come. They're going to take an out, the easy out, if you will, and live to play and face Kat Moore.
Absolutely. You're talking about Allison Owen going out there and talking to her pitcher, Morgan Bruce, probably just telling her, hey, like you said, we have a 4-run lead. Relax. You've been throwing amazing. Continue throwing your game. And she continues to have Leilua ground out to the infield.
And I'm sure the scouting report on Leilua is down, everything down. Make her chop one in the dirt. And that's what happened right there.
She gets one in the air. It's a pretty good chance it's going to sail out of the park.
Kat Moore steps up. First pitch for a strike on the outside corner. Kat Moore from Holly Springs, Mississippi.
Yeah,
left-handed hitter.
Kat Moore in this 4 spot following Davidson and Leilua for this reason. She's going to come up with runners on, and she's going to be able to follow.
Chops one to second. Only plays at first. Run does score. So State manufactures their first run of the ball game. It'll be an RBI for Kat Moore as Robinson scores easily. No throw attempted. And still a runner on in scoring position as Sarai New advances, or as Leilua rather, advances to second base as Sarai New steps up. State down by 3 runs now at 4-1.
Yeah, great job right there by Moore. There was a lot of ways to score that runner at third with less than 2 outs. A ground ball to second base will do the job.
Pitch misses low and outside to Sarai New, ball one.
Right now, I would imagine State really wants to focus on chipping away and not getting too big and continuing to manufacture runs across the plate.
Scoring that first run, huge for the Bulldogs as Sarai New fouls one back for a strike and the count evens up. Tech certainly still in a better position, but a couple of things have happened to, for the moment at least, stem the tide towards the Bulldogs. Cat Moore makes that great catch in center field to keep it a 4-run ball game. Then State comes back with a couple of walks. They score their first run of the game. So all of a sudden, now you go from Tech about to blow it wide open to now State down by, worst case scenario, 3 runs, and still with the 5th, 6th, and 7th innings to come, still anyone's ball game now.
Absolutely, and they scored that run and without a hit. So just goes to show having quality at bats, getting on base. That's the name of the game when you're behind in a game for any team.
Sarai New that time with a 2-strike count, trying to protect the plate. Fought that one off and fouled it off opposite way to stay alive. 9 RBI. Sarai New, a .314 hitter on the year. Takes that pitch outside. Sarai New, second on the team with 6 walks. She also has drawn 1 hit by pitch, so she has 7 free bases and only has struck out 3 times. Very close.
Wow.
That was a borderline pitch and a great pitch call. And Sarai New, I think, was fooled and was given the benefit of the doubt. And now the count's full.
Yeah, you got to be swinging on that with 2 strikes if it's close.
The payoff pitch, grounded opposite way. Second baseman ranges over, and Roper gets the ball to first in time, 4-3. New is retired. So Bruce limits the Bulldog damage, but State does score 1 run. No hits, there were no errors. 1 left on base. 4-1. Jackets on top as we go to the top of the 5th in Starkville. Skye Webb leads off the inning for Georgia Tech, and she will be called out immediately on the very first pitch. And Morgan, I'll let you explain that rule there. Why was Skye Webb on a ball hit out towards the shortstop called out?
Absolutely. You know, there was an emphasis on the rule of stepping on the chalk at all. Home plate, anywhere, if your foot's on the chalk, foul ball, fair ball, swing and a miss, you're out. So I'm sure that was something like that happening right there. That's going to be something that will continue to affect a lot of hitters throughout this season as well.
This is now the second season of that rule. And I remember you said a point of emphasis. It definitely was leading into the season a year ago. And you saw a lot of slappers, especially, had to change a little bit of their stance and their motion and their timing when that rule was changed. You don't see it, or again, we're not even a quarter of the way through this season, but so far I haven't seen it be as much of an issue this year as it was the first half of the season last year.
Absolutely. You know, like you said, it's going to be a lot of left-handed hitters, left-handed slappers who are moving through the box, who have a lot more likely chance to step on the chalk. So something that umpires are going to be looking for, and they're going to call a lot.
A 2-2 count now to Puckett, who hits one deep to right field and off the base of the wall. Speckstarth will play it off the wall and throw it in time to limit Puckett to a double. But a stand-up double it is for Drew Puckett. And that is her second double of the ball game. And Tech, after the leadoff hitter was retired, still gets a runner on in scoring position.
That was a great hit by Puckett. An off-speed pitch by Williams. She waits on it and just throws her hands out there and hits a nice ball off the wall in right field.
So doubles number 3 and 4 on the year for Drew Puckett. She has doubled her number of doubles in this ball game alone. And she would now be pinch run for as Sydney Stavro steps up. She runs at second base as Stanford will step in offensively. Stanford has been the Bulldog killer today. 2 for 2, 3 RBI, a single, and a home run.
Not a bad day for her. It'll be interesting to see if she can continue this hot streak.
She has another RBI chance right here. A base hit would almost certainly score. The speedy pinch-running Stavro from second base. Tech on top 4-1. They scored a couple of runs in the second, 2 more in the fourth. State just scored their first run of the afternoon in the home half of the fourth. And Tech right now trying to get that run back right here. With 1 on at second, less than 2 outs. Stanford high in the air, fairly deep in center. Moore grabs it. Stavro tags. Throw to third base is not in time. Stavro somehow got in there.
Wow.
Right before the tag was applied.
That was a really close play. I know she looked out from up here, but I don't know. I guess she got in there on that one.
The tag must have just been a half second late from Davidson because, like you said, Moore's throw appeared to have beat Stavro to the bag at third.
Very aggressive base running on that one by the speedy Stavro.
So 2 gone now in the top of the fifth. And the 8-hole hitter Zeitler steps up. A sac bunt laid down in the second, a fly out in the fourth. Those have been the at-bats today for Zeitler. She's 0 for 2. Hitting just 190 on the year. But it's been these types of hitters that have caused state pitchers trouble today.
Yeah, the bottom of the lineup really coming through for Georgia Tech this game.
That pitch missed down and in. 3-0 now, the count to the 8-hole hitter, Zeitler.
Really important right here for Mississippi State to get an out and not let this run cross the dish.
That time, Williams found the inside corner. And, of course, Zeitler was going to take that pitch all the way. Count is 3 balls and a strike. on the freshman right-handed hitter Zeitler, the shortstop. Strike two. Zeitler thought it was ball four, tried to sell it, and instead gets called back. Count has gone full.
Great battle right here, and a big moment for both teams.
Pitch just missed off the inside corner. Zeitler really crowds the plate, and that ball came up and in and missed the inside corner. A walk earned by Zeitler. She's on base for the first time today. And here comes the catcher, Ellebrock, who has gone 2 for 2. A single in the second and a single in the fourth.
Yeah, Emily Williams, as we saw right there, not afraid to pitch that hard pitch on the inside corner.
Runners at the corners, 2 gone for Ellebrock, who takes strike one. You mentioned big moment right here. If State gets out of this, then all of a sudden you start talking about momentum on their side. If Tech is able to get a run across the board, get that lead back to 4, changes the complexion of the ball game now heading into the home stretch.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see from up here, both dugouts are really, really into this right now. They want to see this inning come through for their side. So really big moment for both squads.
0-2 the count as Ellebrock has fallen into the hole. Ball gets past Davidson. Could be a play at the plate. Sliding in safely is Stavro. Stavro able on a bang-bang play to get to home right before Davidson can apply the tag. Davidson tried to make the play herself on a ball that just got away from her, and Stavro did not hesitate for a split second and took off from third base.
She didn't. I mean, that ball barely rolled away from Mia Davidson, but Stavro continuing her aggressive base running she's had since she was put into pinch run and getting across the dish safely.
Putting her in after the double from Puckett paid off big time for Georgia Tech.
All right there, Mia Davidson calling timeout for her team. Probably a good move to kind of go talk to her pitcher and infield and say, hey, y'all, let's calm down. Let's get this out. Let's get out of the inning, and let's get back in the box and score some runs.
Close plays at both third and at home. And Stavro just beat the Bulldogs to the bag in both cases and manufactures a run to put Tech back on top 5-1.
Ooh.
Back on top by 4 runs, that is, by a score of 5-1 as Ellebrock hits one right at the Bulldog dugout.
Wow, that was a hard hit one. You know, we see the newly added extension to the dugout to kind of protect the people inside the dugout from balls like that, but that one got really close to the edge.
Line drive off the glove of Robinson. Rounding third is Zeitler. She will score, and Georgia Tech has taken control of this one on top 6-1 here in the 5th.
That was a great ball. A big moment right there for Georgia Tech. And a great hit. But Bevier Robinson almost caught that. She had a pretty good jump, but great hit.
I think she timed the jump correctly, just couldn't elevate quite high enough. And how about the day for the 9-hole hitter, Ellebrock?
What a day. I mean, that's a big moment to come through for your team. You can definitely see the momentum right now for Georgia Tech in the dugout. They're excited.
Ellebrock only had 1 hit on the season, a veteran player, a senior. She makes her 4th start of the year today and gets her 2nd, 3rd, and 4th hits in her first 3 at-bats of the ball game. And they have all come in innings where Tech has scored.
Absolutely. You know, she's taking advantage of her opportunity her senior year, and showing out today.
And now the top of the order, Roper comes up. Roper herself is 2 for 3, but no RBI and no runs scored. It's been a good day, but not a very productive day for Roper. A double in the first, a single last inning. But like I said, no runs driven in and no runs scored today for the leadoff hitter Roper, who came into the ballgame hitting already over 400 and now has her average up almost to 500 at 490. Williams trying to find the outside corner, misses, and the count is 2-0. A couple of 2-out runs, and Tech has not only regained a 4-run lead, but now has opened up a 5-run cushion. They've out-hit State 12-1 and have really played exceptional softball today.
They have. Right now, I'd like to see Emily Williams, the veteran pitcher, a pitcher who's going to pitch a lot this season, just kind of take matters into her own hands right here and get this out for her team.
Strike called on the outside corner. And the count has gone full, 3-2. Foul tip, Roper will stay alive. 24 hits on the year now for Roper. A couple of home runs. 5 doubles. 17 RBI and 13 runs scored. She draws the walk here and has now reached base safely 3 times today. And the inning continues for Georgia Tech. 2 runners on, still 2 outs, with the Jackets on top by 5.
Roper, only a sophomore, putting up some great numbers her sophomore year.
Putting up Mia Davidson type numbers almost, just minus some of the power numbers.
Absolutely.
Awald now steps up. Williams finds the strike zone with the first pitch. Awald today 1 for 3. Struck out her first time up. A fly ball to left her second time up, then came through with a big RBI double for Tech in the 4th inning, her last time up. Pitch is high and the count is even, a ball and a strike. Awald, 333 hitter, 463 on base percentage. Swing and a miss. You and I were talking earlier before the broadcast started, Morgan. Tech's numbers this weekend not really indicative of the kind of team they've been most of the season. They've got, as we see Awald strike out, they got over half the lineup with an on-base percentage 450 or higher. I think we're starting to see some of that today now for the first time all weekend.
Absolutely. They're a very good offensive team, as they've proven throughout this season up to this tournament. And now we didn't really see that too much in the first 2 games against Mississippi State, but now really coming through in this 3rd game.
Spexarth, Davidson, and Gabbs due up for State. They trail the Jackets by a score of 6-1 here in the 5th inning stretch. Alongside Morgan Bell, Anthony Craven with you here in Starkville. 6-1 our score in the bottom of the 5th as the Yellow Jackets from Georgia Tech have opened up a at least semi-comfortable lead over the Bulldogs from Mississippi State. Specksarth leads things off for State. Ball gets away from Ella Brock. I say semi-comfortable lead because a 5-run cushion, home half of the 5th, a lot of teams would begin to feel at least somewhat comfortable. State, though, has a history of come-from-behind wins, late-inning victories, and I'm sure Tech, with Allison Owen part of the staff, they know about that, and they're not going to let up at all against the Bulldogs here the last 3 at-bats.
Absolutely. You know, Mississippi State having late-inning wins and not going away in the late innings is a really big part of Mississippi State's culture. So no matter what, Mississippi State is not going to go away. That's something that Van Studeman preaches, and the girls know and understand that we're not going to go away. Assuming that, you know, sometimes with a lead like this, other teams will say, hey, we got this, or if they're down, hey, you know, game's over, we're down too much. But Mississippi State is a team that no matter what, they're going to think the score is 0-0, and they're going to fight until the very last pitch.
The Bulldogs riding a 6-game winning streak, trying to avoid dropping their only ball game of the weekend as part of this Snowman tournament. And Specksarth draws a leadoff walk to start what could be a state rally here in the 5th inning.
Yeah, nice quality at bat right there by the sophomore. Not getting too big, not trying to put a big swing on it, but taking her walk.
And now we'll see Van Studeman go out and I would imagine make a change and put in a pinch runner at first base for Specksarth. That's exactly what's going to happen. Number 88, the junior Christian Quinn out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, will now run at first base. So the Bulldogs have some speed on the bases as the 7-hole hitter Montana Davidson now steps in for State.
Yeah, all State needs to focus on right here is quality at bats, following each other, extending the inning, not trying to get too big.
Our score is 6-1. The Jackets have out-hit the Bulldogs 12-1. Tech, though, has left 8 on base. The Bulldogs 1 left on base. A ball game that has been controlled by Tech, but not fully dominated by Tech. Tech has left some opportunities out there, which has now given State a chance with a couple of runs to get right back in the ball game. Grounder, hard hit, but right at the shortstop. Flip to second, throw to first, not in time. Davidson just beat the throw. Quinn out at second base on the force outs, as Zeitler and Roper that time trying to turn a double play, and they almost got it done.
Yeah, great job by Montana Davidson breaking up that double play. You know, it's a big difference between having those 2 outs and then now having 1 with a runner on still. So props to her for digging down there.
And now we'll see the pitching coach for Georgia Tech, Allison Owen, walk back out to the circle. We mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Allison Owen, a former MSU player, a graduate of Mississippi State, from the state of Georgia, started her career in Athens, spent a year there, decided to transfer, came to Mississippi State, and had a fantastic career pitching for Van Studeman, and now has taken what she learned playing and working for Van, and is now building a nice coaching career of her own back in her home state.
Absolutely. She was honored on Saturday before the first game of this 3-game matchup. So, yeah, someone who made a big impact on Mississippi State softball and was welcomed back to News Park.
Her name is still littered all over the record books. When you look at the MSU softball media guide, her name is listed in several major categories in terms of career strikeouts and wins. Pitched here in the first half of Van Studeman's now 8-year tenure in Starkville. Grace Dabbs hits one off the glove of Zeitler, and no play can be made. Hard hit ball by Dabbs. Zeitler knocked it down but could not field it. And Davidson got over to first base in a hurry. So Montana Davidson advances. Dabbs on to first. That will be scored the first error of the ball game. A bit of a tough luck error, too. That was a hard hit ball, but one that Zeitler, I'm sure, feels like she should have fielded cleanly. And now we're going to see State use a pinch runner at second base as Greg will come out of the dugout and run for Montana Davidson as Emily Heimberger now steps up. 2 runs on, less than 2 outs. Heimberger trying to turn things over for that dangerous top of the order for MSU. Bunt laid down, back to the pitcher. Only play is to first, and a good job getting over there and covering the bag at second base from Roper as Bruce got the throw there a little low, but got it there in time. And Heimberger is retired, but she does put 2 runners on now in scoring position for the top of the MSU order in Bevier Robinson.
Yeah, not a bad idea right there by Heimberger to play some small ball and use her speed. Even though she didn't make it to first base, she did move her runners.
We are now in the area of the ball game where on Saturday, State began to get to Bruce a little bit, and then boom, they scored 4 runs in the 6th inning.
Absolutely. You know, seeing a pitcher second, third time through the lineup is definitely an advantage for a hitter. And the really good pitchers can continue to keep batters on their toes and mix pitches through that second and third time through the lineup.
Robinson had a quality batter last time up. Led off the 4th inning and drew a walk and was able to score State's so far only run today. We saw Bruce either have some issues or pitch very carefully to Robinson in the 4th inning, and perhaps we're seeing it again here in the 5th. A couple of balls low and away and really nowhere near the strike zone. A 2-1 count. That time she challenged her with a high velocity drop ball, simply missed it downstairs. Now a hitter's count, 3-1. And a huge moment right here because look who's in the on-deck circle.
Absolutely.
Mia Davidson hoping to get a shot right here. Robinson pops it up on the infield. Shortstop comes in, and Zeitler makes the catch, and Bruce gets out of the jam. No runs, no hits, no errors. 2 left on base, and Tech's on top 6-1 as we head to inning number 6. Katie Cruz leads off the top of the 6th for Georgia Tech. They're on top 6-1 over Mississippi State. Tech has played really well offensively. They have pitched it really well. They've played solid defense. Morgan, they have simply done everything right today against MSU.
They have. They've taken advantage of their base runners that they've gotten on. They've had some big hits. Something that Mississippi State is lacking this game is a big hit or a big spark offensively to allow them to score some more runs.
Grounder over to third, thrown across a little high, but in plenty of time for Sarai New. And Davison makes the play 5-3, and Cruz is retired. A rare leadoff out today. Tech's done a really good job. Part of their success has been getting the leadoff hitter on base in most of their at-bats so far today.
Absolutely. Very good on Mississippi State's side to get that leadoff out here in the late innings.
Hard hit ball off the bat of Huckabee, but foul left-hand side, and we'll do it again with strike one and no balls. Six runs on 12 hits, one error committed, 8 left on base for the Rambling Wreck. For State, simply one hit, 1 run scored. They have played solid defense for the most part today. No errors committed and 3 runners left on base.
Yeah, not playing bad defensively at all. You know, Cat Moore had that amazing catch in center field, saving at least 2 runs from crossing the plate. So
high fly ball. Huckabee hits it high into right field. Coming in and making the grab is Quinn. So Quinn getting her first action in right field today. She was inserted as a pinch runner for Spexarth and has now stayed in the ball game in place of Spexarth in right field. 2 gone and no one on as the number 5 hitter in the order, Skye Webb, steps in now for the Yellow Jackets, a left-handed hitter. Webb today's 1 for 3 with a run scored. Little blooper that goes right into the glove of Robinson. So Robinson, right place, right time, and a 1-2-3 inning for Williams and the Bulldogs. Tech, though, still on top by 5 runs, 6-1, going now to the bottom of the 6th inning. Mia Davison leads off the inning as the Bulldogs from Starkville looking to erase a 5-run deficit, and they are now down to their final 6 outs. It'll be Davidson, Leilua, and Moore, 2, 3, and 4, so the power hitters in the lineup. along with Sarai New in the on-deck circle, stepping up to face Morgan Bruce in the home half of the 6th. And Bruce has been simply fantastic today in the circle for Georgia Tech.
She has. She's done a great job keeping the ball low in the zone, not giving up a lot of hits, making Mississippi State ground out, not really have too many productive at-bats.
Davidson, who came in hitting over 500 on the year, still is hitting right at 500 on the year. Today, though, is 0 for 2. I'm sorry, 0 for 1 with a walk. High fly ball, deep to right at the wall, gone! Mia Davidson goes opposite field and gets her 9th homer of the year over the wall in right field to get it back to a 4-run deficit. State now trails by a score of 6-2.
Not a surprise right there at all by Mia Davidson. Just keeping it simple, putting a nice swing on it and sending it right over the right field fence. You know, something Mia Davidson is good at, as I was saying earlier, not just physically but mentally. She's very good at not getting too big in situations. Yesterday in Mississippi State's game against Southeastern Louisiana, it was an extra innings. Mississippi State was down by 1 run, and Mia Davidson comes up and hits a home run to tie it. So someone who's not negatively affected by pressure, who takes advantage of her opportunities.
9 homers on the year, 20 runs now driven in, and 15 runs scored. So Davidson gets her first hit. A solo shot to right field. State now back to within striking distance. You can now load the bases. The tying run would come to the plate as Falealua steps in, and after fouling back the first pitch, takes that ball from Bruce just off the inside corner, and the count evens up. Leilua's 0 for 2. Struck out in the first and reached on a grounder via a fielder's choice her last time up in the 4th. Hard hit ball, but foul.
Yeah, nice to see Mia Davidson come up with not a hit yet on the day and come up in these late innings and get a hit, a pretty nice hit, actually. I'm not surprised by that.
And that may be, and you're around her a lot, that may be the one thing that she is better at now as a sophomore than she was as a freshman. Last year, as Leilua fouls that one back, although she was one of the best freshmen in America, maybe she was the best freshman in America last year as an everyday player. Despite that, she had some ball games where if she went 0 for 2 or 0 for 3 in her first 3 at-bats, that last at-bat, she'd get antsy.
Absolutely.
And would press.
Yes.
And swing at bad pitches. Leilua hits one up the gut. That'll be a base knock. A solid shot right up the middle. Leilua's on after a single, back-to-back base hits, and now State. Listen, we saw them score 4 runs in the 6th inning against Tech on Saturday. They're down by 4 runs right now. Can we see another 4-run outburst after a solo shot from Davidson and a nice solid single from Leilua?
Absolutely. Just continue to have quality at bat after quality at bat, and good things will happen.
A pinch runner now will be used for Leilua. Anna Kate Seegers, the freshman, will run at first base as Kat Moore steps in. Kat Moore 0 for 2, but does have an RBI for State. She drove in the Bulldogs' first run back in the 4th inning with a ground out. That scored Robinson from third base.
Like I was saying before, Kat Moore is a great player to have in this situation following Davidson and Leilua, because she's a player who's not going to get too big in a moment. She's going to stay level, continue to play her game, and she's very successful when doing that.
That's ball lifted fairly deep to left center. It carries all the way to the wall. Kat Moore only about 4 feet away from hitting another homer against the Tech pitching staff. That's now back-to-back-to-back really hard-hit balls. And Allison Owen, the pitching coach, calls time, and she's looking towards the bullpen to see if someone's ready for a change, and I think we're going to see a change, and yes, we are. That'll be it for Morgan Bruce. She was really good through 5 innings, but ran into a bit of trouble here in the 6th, and Tech will not waste any more time. They'll go ahead and put in number 5, Brooke Barfield, the junior lefty, to try to calm things down after a homer from Davidson, a hard-hit single from Leilua, and then a ball that Kat Moore drove opposite way to the wall in left center field. I'll be honest, I thought that was going to be almost like a bloop single off the bat, and that thing traveled all the way to the halfway up the fence.
I know. I couldn't tell. I was like, this is either not going to go very far or it's going to go over the fence.
Right.
I couldn't tell which it was, but that was a great, solid hit right there by the senior. Like I said, not making a moment bigger than any other moment, no matter what the situation is, and coming through big right there for her team. So great job by Mississippi State, showing up in the 6th inning with some base hits and forcing Georgia Tech to bring in a new arm.
Brooke Barfield has only thrown 10 1/3 innings on the season. Correction, she's now thrown 13 1/3 innings on the season because she threw 3 innings of relief earlier today in Tech's victory over Southeastern Louisiana.
She has not pitched, though, against Mississippi State this entire weekend. So a brand new pitcher facing the Bulldogs.
And she'll face Sarai New and starts her off with a ball down the middle, strike 1. The numbers on Barfield are not going to be impressive, but you got to factor in that it's only 13 innings of work. Pitches high. The ERA is over 7. She has 1 save on the year, 1 victory on the year, 1 loss on the year. This would be her 6th appearance total. Does have 3 starts earlier in the season. New fouls 1 back for strike 2. And Barfield appears to be a hard-throwing lefty. "17 hits allowed and now 13 innings of action." There's a ball lifted into left center field, drops in for a base hit. Rounding third and scoring is Seegers, and the Bulldogs are back to within 3 runs, and they now have collected 4 consecutive hits. And now the tying run will come to the plate here in the 6th inning, and still no outs.
Great job right there by senior Sarai New. I've seen her play a lot throughout her career with her, now watching her this year, and that low line drive to either side of center field is a ball that I've seen her hit a lot. She's really good at staying through a low pitch and hitting it up the middle, so great hit right there by her.
In this inning, Davidson solo homer to left. Leilua single to center. Moore a single to left center. And then Sarai New a single to center field to score Seegers. And now the Bulldogs will put Speckstarth back in the ball game. Quinn came in for her. a couple of innings ago. And now Spexarth is back into the ball game as MSU wants to put a power hitter in the lineup. And Brooke Cantillo is now being asked to pinch run for MSU in place of Sarai Nu at first base. So Cantillo at first and Moore at third with Spexarth at the plate.
Mississippi State, like we said, not going to go away. Going to fight until the last pitch. Showing that here in this late inning, 6th inning.
The Dogs had 1 hit in the first 5 innings, 4 hits here in the 6th inning. And on the very first pitch, Cantillo takes off for second base and gets thrown out on a really nice throw from the catcher, Ellabrook. And maybe a little miscommunication right there. I don't think Cantillo was supposed to go on that pitch. I'm just guessing.
I don't think so. Not really sure what happened.
Tech was ready for it. First pitch was in there for a strike. That one misses downstairs. The count is now even at 1-1. That's a huge play right there. It gives Tech an out now to work with. And more importantly, it now removes the situation where a home run could have tied the ball game.
Yeah, you're right. That definitely was a good thing to happen for Georgia Tech in this situation with the power hitting Spexarth up to bat, Montana Davidson up to bat or on deck.
Spexarth 0 for 1 with a walk. Drew a walk her last time up last inning. Hard hit ball, fairly deep into right, back and off the wall. That will score from third base more easily. The Bulldogs now 5 hits consecutively in this inning, and it's now a 2-run ball game, 6-4, and the hit parade continues for Mississippi State.
Great ball right there by Spexarth, keeping it simple, hitting a nice little line drive off the wall to right field with an RBI. Mississippi State not going away in this inning, even with the 1 out that just occurred.
Spexarth gets her first hit of the game. She runs at first base. Montana Davidson steps up, looking for her first hit. Swing at the first pitch, and she fouls it back, strike 1. And Barfield right now really having a hard time finding the strike zone, and when she does, the Bulldogs have been ready.
Yeah, a pretty big moment for her to be put in right here for the sophomore pitcher.
Pop up, foul territory, could be a play. Catcher calls for it and drops it. Ellabrook unable to keep it in the glove, and Davidson will stay alive.
Wow, that's a play you have to make in a time like this. Not really sure. It just popped right out of her glove, but if you're the defense, you've got to take an out right there.
That would have been huge for Tech. Nothing into the count, so still very much a pitcher's count as Barfield wasted 1 outside.
Montana Davidson really probably looking to take advantage of that right now, getting another chance.
Most everything Barfield's thrown since coming in has been up and away.
Pretty different than the starting pitcher, Morgan Bruce.
Swing and a miss, huge strikeouts. A fastball from Barfield, a huge strikeout of Montana Davidson for out number 2.
Huge job, or great job in that huge moment for Barfield. Still getting the out with no damage done.
Tying run at the plate still for MSU. This time it's Grace Dabbs representing that tying run. Spexarth on at first. Dabbs had a double back in the third. Takes ball 1 and reached on an error in the 5th. So she has reached base safely. Now looking back on it, how big could it have been for Dabbs to have not been thrown out at third base back in the third inning, with the ball game all of a sudden now a 2-run deficit?
Absolutely, it would have changed. Every pitch, every play matters in these close games.
Two balls and no strikes on Dabbs. We mentioned it at the beginning of the broadcast. Has been really seeing the ball well in games recently and draws just the second start of the season today against Tech as she fouls back a pitch for a strike, and the count is now 2-1.
Yep.
1 for 2 today, and on the year has recorded a base hit in half of her at-bats. Shows bunt and takes it for a strike on the outside corner, and Barfield now is starting to feel and I think look more comfortable in the circle for Tech.
She looks a lot more confident out there now that she's gotten some outs. It took her a minute to settle in, but she does look a lot more confident.
Deuces wild as Barfield gets ready and misses downstairs. A good take by Dabbs. The count goes full. Well, we figured we'd see some late inning drama eventually. And here we go.
Here it is. Here it is. Especially this moment. Full count, 2 outs.
Grounder, second base, boots it, an error, and the inning continues. Tying runs are on base. Dabbs put it in play, and the usually reliable Roper simply booted it.
Wow, Dabbs continuing to just put it in play and make things happen out there.
And now time is called by the Yellow Jackets. They want to talk things over. We have seen the catcher, Ella Brock, drop a pop-up, and we've now seen Roper, the second baseman, unable to field a routine grounder to keep this inning alive for Mississippi State. Now can the Bulldogs take advantage of it with the tying runs on base and Emily Heimberger at the plate?
Yeah, just goes to show if you put the ball in play, especially on the ground, well, even in the air in this case, that's just making things happen. You know, the defense has to make a play. An error can occur.
Ball one issued to Heimberger. The senior. A veteran up at the plate in a big moment. Hits a pitch high into the air on the infield. Should be caught and will be caught for Roper. Tech gets out of the inning. In the sixth for MSU. 3 runs on 5 hits. There was 1 error, and they strand the tying runs on base. We head to the 7th. Yellow Jackets 6, Bulldogs 4 here at News Park in Starkville. We go to the 7th inning here in Starkville. 6-4 our score with Georgia Tech leading Mississippi State. The Bulldogs trailed 6-1 and then scored 3 runs on 5 consecutive hits in the home half of the 6th to get back in the ball game. Now Tech, I'm sure, looking for an answer right here, and they've had the answer so far every time today.
Yeah. As we saw, Mississippi State just put up. Oh, wow. Great catch right there by Bevier Robinson. Sorry, had to take a break
That's all right. Yeah, to retire,
see how that played out.
To retire Puckett. Yeah, nice job in foul territory there, left side.
I was saying we saw Mississippi State put up 5 hits, score 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th. So right now, Georgia Tech, I'm sure they're not comfortable with this 2-run lead, and they're looking to extend it going into the bottom of the 7th.
No one on and 1 gone for Stanford, who has been a thorn in the Bulldogs' side all day long today. A 2 RBI single to get the scoring started back in the 2nd. A solo homer in the 4th and a fly ball out in the 5th, her last time up. But even that fly ball out was a well-hit ball to fairly deep center field. 2 balls and no strikes as Williams has gone almost the distance, and she was put into action early in this one, back in inning number 2. Has gone 5 innings, has allowed 4 earned runs on 7 base hits. Has walked 2, struck out 3, has given up a couple of doubles and a home run. Has not had her best day today, but here she is in a big-time moment right here, trying to keep this deficit for State only at 2 runs.
Yeah, not the best performance we've seen by Emily Williams as she gives up the walk right there, but her offense coming through last inning, keeping her and the whole team in this game, because of course it's not over until it's over.
That's right.
So you never know what can happen, especially in the late innings.
A big walk earned there by Stanford. What it does is, barring a double play, means you're almost guaranteed now to get Roper a plate appearance, especially with the way that this bottom third of the order has performed today for Tech. It's been really the best third of the order all game long. That's rare that you see that, but Stanford, Zeitler, and Ellebrock have combined for 5, almost half of Tech's 12 hits today.
Yeah, bottom of the lineup really coming through big for Georgia Tech all game. And now here they are up again in the top of the 7th.
Tech will use a pinch runner at first base. Number 4, Rebecca Prairie, will run at first base for Stanford. So Stanford drew the walk, and now she's back in the dugout. And Prairie will run the bases. Strike delivered to Zeitler. Zeitler drew a walk and scored her last time up. When Tech answered State's solo run in the 4th with 2 runs in the 5th. They're looking to respond yet again. This time State scored 3 runs in their last at bat. Tech trying to get some of that back here in the top of the 7th. And Morgan, you may have already mentioned this, but if you're looking to the home half of the 7th, it is the top of the order due up for State.
Yeah, you definitely want to, if you're Georgia Tech, continue to be hot in the box and score some more runs and not be comfortable with a 2-run lead.
2-2 count to Zeitler, rather. I knew I'd do that. Hard hit ball, headed towards center field. Coming over there making the grab is Moore, and she almost doubled up. Prairie, who got a big jump, did not tag and got a big lead, was always already halfway to the bag at second before she made her way back. So a big out number 2 as the 9-hole hitter, Ellebrock, who is 3 for 3 today, steps in one more time. Ball in the dirt, blocked up nicely that time by Mia Davidson.
Yeah, great block right there by Mia Davidson. You know, pass ball puts a runner in scoring position for a really hot hitter in the Georgia Tech lineup right now.
Time's called by Van Studeman. The Bulldog head coach walks out to talk things over with the team. So let's reset the stage for you. Tech on top by a couple of runs. 1 runner on, 2 gone. They've out-hit State 12-6, but have left 8 runners on base. A couple of errors they committed aided the Bulldogs' opportunities, especially in those late innings. Last inning had a couple of mistakes that led directly to Bulldog runs. So here we are. You get the feeling that Tech certainly could, maybe even should, be up by more than 2 runs right now, but State, to their credit, they keep fighting, and we've seen this now from this team, not just this year, but in years past. And this team has already sort of taken on, as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, kind of that identity of, we're going to be tougher than you late in the ball game. So if you're going to put us away, you better put us away early. Line drive up the middle, base hit. 4th hit today for Ellebrock.
Yeah, the senior showing out today, putting on a textbook hitting clinic, some nice hits on the day, continuing that hit streak in the 7th inning.
I get the feeling that Ellebrock will earn some more starts after today.
Yeah.
She only had 3 coming in. And now we might see a pitching change. From our vantage point, we can't see who State had warming up.
Yeah, it looks like Alyssa Loza, the transfer this season from Arizona State.
It will indeed be Loza, who comes on to relieve Emily Williams, who we cannot close the book on because the 2 runners on base are her responsibility, but she has given up 4 earned runs today. Did a good job calming things down early and then got roughed up a little bit in the 4th inning. And I think in the 5th inning is where she really ran into some trouble and had a bad inning there, and Tech took advantage of it. Not going to be one of those outings where Williams looks back on the film and goes, I did a great job, but she did throw a lot of pitches and ate up a lot of innings, which is key when you're playing a doubleheader, which State's playing today.
Yeah, definitely a good point in that, but I do agree. Williams, not her best performance of the season probably, but with Mississippi State's offense scoring and keeping them in the game, probably not a bad idea right here for a little pitching change.
The numbers on the year for Alyssa Loza are good. 3-1 record, a 2.21 ERA. She's thrown 25 1/3 innings on the year, allowed 26 hits, 10 runs, 8 earned runs. Strike 1 delivered to the top of the order, Brianna Roper. 5 walks, 17 strikeouts recorded by Loza. Teams are hitting .260 against her, and she has given up 8 extra base hits.
Yeah, Loza a little bit different than Emily Williams in the fact that Loza's going to throw it a lot harder. She's going to throw it harder than Williams, who usually stay around 57, 58. Loza's going to be up in the low 60s. And she's going to not be afraid, again, kind of like Williams, to throw it in on your hands or to hit the outside corner, but she's going to throw it a lot harder.
That pitch missed outside. Not a bad idea, though, with an 0-2 count. Count now 1-2 to Roper, who is at the plate for the 5th time today. A double in the first, strikeout in the second, single in the fourth, and a walk last inning. The top of the order, left-handed hitter. Pop-up foul will do it again as she stays alive.
Loza's a player that's going to fight for her team. You can tell in the circle when she's out there, she's pitching out there for her team and for her teammates. And she's going to do everything she can to win pitches, win at bats for her team.
Down and outside, the count is even at 2-2. 8th appearance overall on the circle, 5th in relief for the transfer Loza, a California native who Morgan mentioned started her career collegiately playing out in Tempe, Arizona for the Sun Devils of Arizona State. Transferred in during the offseason. Swing and a miss. Fastball high, and Roper strikes out. And the inning is over. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 2 left on. State down to its final 3 outs. Down by 2 runs. It'll be Robinson, Mia Davidson, and Leilua. The top of the order due up in the bottom of inning number 7. We go to the bottom of the 7th here in Starkville, and Georgia Tech will make a pitching change and use their 3rd different pitcher in the circle today. It'll be Naomi Dickerson, who will be asked to close the door on Mississippi State. Dickerson has thrown only 2 2/3 innings on the season, so has only been used in 2 other ball games before today. Just her 3rd appearance of the season. In those 2 2/3 innings, has surrendered a couple of earned runs on 3 hits, has walked 2 and struck out 2. Robinson puts a bunt down, grabbed by Dickerson, throw to first, not in time. Leadoff bunt single laid down beautifully by Bevier Robinson. Tying run at the plate now in the form of Mia Davidson.
That is exactly what Mississippi State wanted right there. Leadoff runner on base in the bottom of the 7th with the middle, the power, the heart of your order coming up. So great job by senior Robinson, having a quality at bat and getting on base.
Dickerson's ERA over 5 on the year. Asked to come in and really put in a tight spot. Yes, her team has a 2-run lead, But we saw how State's hitters have been getting slowly and surely better and more comfortable as the ball game has gone on. Now here's a young lady who had a home run her last time up.
Yeah, Mia Davidson, probably a player that you do want up in this situation if I'm Mississippi State.
Yes.
So
grounder, that's a fair ball. Fair ball into the corner of left field. Here comes Robinson. Play at the plate. Robinson is out at home plate. A really close play. And Robinson is thrown out at home plate. And the Bulldog dugout is not happy at all. There have been at least 3, by my count, bang-bang plays. They've all gone the way of the Yellow Jackets.
wow.
A huge defensive play by Georgia Tech.
Wow, that was intense. Really great play right there for Georgia Tech.
We do not have the advantage of replay.
I'm not sure.
She looks safe from my vantage point.
I'm not sure if Coach Tyler Bratton was arguing for obstruction or if that Robinson was safe, but he was fired up and he's going to fight for his team. That's for sure.
It was a great throw in from left field.
Amazing throw.
Davidson ends up at third base. Pop up over into shallow left field, and a nice job by Zeitler to range back and make the catch. And all of a sudden, Tech is an out away from getting the victory as Leilua popped out and Kat Moore steps up.
Well, great job by Mia Davidson getting to third.
Yes.
Very heads up. Puts Mississippi State in a good spot, but that was just a great throw. Great play.
The Bulldogs normally are going to be aggressive on the bases. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it does not. Moore hits one high, fairly deep in the right, but going back and making the grab is Huckabee. And Georgia Tech picks up a huge victory as Dickerson comes on in relief and slams the door on Mississippi State. Georgia Tech 6, Bulldogs 4 is your final score. A gutsy victory.